I think I've netted like $79.
And here's the craziest part, though.
Everybody's rich. This is our gig, guys.
Like what? Selling drugs.
Episode of Angry Capital, we're pulling receipts, how layoffs fuel the gig worker explosion, and how platform pay collapses in real time, and how new laws can either protect workers or lock in a permanent underclass.
And just to introduce myself, I'm Arthur. I'm an ex-radio host, news writer, and I'm your resident doom scroller reading economic charts at 2 a.m. for fun.
Yeah, by the way, you said ex-radio host. You're still a radio host doing a show like this, just on a new medium, because you're a gig guy, and the new gig is making you a podcast host,
Exactly.
But you're really just both.
Sure, yeah.
You're a gig guy, and so am I. TV host, stand-up comedian, and the bury cash in the backyard guy. That's my biggest gig. Learning about all of this alongside you guys. It's been a while so far, man.
Yeah, and the whole point of this is we're just two dads trying to understand the economy before, it destroys our kids' future here.
Yeah, we're two guys who have worked in this business too, and especially the gig economy, and always try to figure out how to make it work. And this show is, we're just looking at the information, guys. We're trying to dive in with you, see how we can survive, how you can survive. How do you protect our future and the future that might only have gig work, and that's it. So let's dive in and talk about this. So layoffs are driving workers into gig jobs. Goldman Sachs says gig platforms added more workers in 2025 than any year since the pandemic.
Damn,
so
that's
they
crazy.
say the surge is directly tied to recent layoffs in retail, logistics, and manufacturing. So more people now rely on gig jobs as primary income. Hello, that's us. But earn only 50 to 65% of what traditional jobs paid. So it's less money, also less security. I mean, Forbes wants the surge masks a structural, they warn the surge masks a structural weakness in the labor market. Arthur, nothing says a thriving economy like everyone's sprinting to the apps the second they get fired.
Right. I mean, because, nobody wants to go to LinkedIn anymore because it's just social media. There aren't real jobs. There's ghost jobs. So you're kind of forced into the gig economy. And it used to be, kind of the promise of freedom. But now the story is really changing here. And as those gig workers as workers get laid off and flood into the apps, they're joining this ecosystem that's already overflowing with people who bailed on traditional jobs who were hoping for that freedom. I mean, just look at these stats here, Paul. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Also, you know what I really hate? I hate getting let go from a gig job and then going on LinkedIn and seeing some guy with 20,000 followers tell me if I just put my head down and hustle, I'm going to make it. I'm not going to LinkedIn for that. I'm going to LinkedIn to get a job, to get a gig.
I mean, they're just trying to make money off their AI slap they're posting on LinkedIn. You see all of those posts. Nobody wrote any of that.
It's all fake.
Right.
76 million Americans freelance at some point in 2025. That's 36% of the workforce. Now, think about time in history. Over the past decade, more and more people have turned to freelance work as a way to get more freedom. That's what you're saying, right? And some of the gigs are really lucrative. This is where this is interesting. I want to go out for these jobs. Amazon resellers can earn over $100 an hour.
Damn.
AI prompt engineers, which by the way are just humans. Like that's not a real job title. That's just someone writing into AI.
No, that's real. It's a hard work getting AI to actually work properly. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of work.
You definitely have a side hustle. We just figured it out. AI prompt engineers get $54 an hour. Digital product sellers, $37 an hour. And podcast editors, hi Matt, $32 an hour. That's our editor, Matt. There he is.
I think that's just for audio though, because the video ones, I mean, they take so much longer, a lot more work. Like it's hard work.
Yeah, and what's interesting too, these gig workers, they're all considered more professional or skilled or labor freelancers, right? The majority of people getting hit by the recent layoffs are flooding into the app-based gig economy. The things are way different over there, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, let me tell you what's going on over here. I was looking into this. Business Insider had this report showing that Uber drivers' weekly earnings fell almost 4% to an average of about $513 a week. Lyft drivers' earnings fell 14%, now around $300 a week. Instacart workers dropped almost 10%. And many are reporting that they're having to work more hours for less pay just to make up the difference or even break even here. I mean, this is Hunger Game economics. You hustle harder, you earn less, and you just die tired.
Dude, I've talked to some Uber drivers over the years, even in this last few months, Lyft drivers, Instacart, all these delivery services, the percentages for them to actually make money has gotten so much lower. I mean, literally, last time I talked to Uber drivers, like, I've been driving 20 hours. I think I've netted like $79.
Oh
like
my God.
that's I mean, that's probably a little bit of exaggeration, but I just feel like they put so much time in. And what you get returned on I think when it started, the problem with this, and maybe this is like a crypto analogy, like when it started, you probably made more money in it and it was easier for the time you put in. Now you put all this time in and it's just headaches and not a lot of money. That's how I feel about these drivers. I feel bad for them, man. They're getting squeezed.
Yeah,
and
it's rough out there.
You know, for us and people out there like you guys watching or listening, are you doing gig work? I'm curious. And did you watch your pay shrink? Is it happening to you? Drop it in the comments. Let us know, because, you know, it's funny with freelancing. You can get hired to do something, like I said, with Uber and even jobs I've had before where like, I once got this rate. So in my mind, that's kind of my minimum. But then you spend a year, 2 years not getting that rate. You go, well, I'm going to move the line because I got to make something.
Right.
And that's, I think, how they get you, as they know.
Yeah, you got to get creative. And that's why you see them like doubling up. Like if you're doing Uber, you're also doing Uber Eats at the same time and doing DoorDash and you're lifting at the same time, like having to Instacart shopping all at the same time. It's getting crazy. And I mean, you know, if some of these stats and stuff that we're going over, I mean, if this feels like this is something you're just learning about, I mean, hit like. So, you know, you show YouTube that, you know, this needs to be shown to more people who are getting squeezed by this gig work and the way it's shaking out here.
That's right. And guys, I just want to let you know, because we are on a green screen here. I am driving an automated car doing deliveries. So I just want
driving an automated car. How does that work?
It's driving itself, but I'm kind of in the driver's seat also. But I'm talking to you fine. It's totally safe. Your man's got to work. Okay. It's a gig economy. I actually have a robot delivering to the doors. So I get to do this show from the car here and talk to you guys while also delivering somebody some pizza right now. Dude, but if you
got to do what you got to do. I mean, I'm not, no hate here. I mean, we're all trying to get by.
If you're like me, spreading too thin, also don't forget to subscribe, guys, because the numbers we're about to show you are where the math sort of goes full dystopian, like I'm describing. Platforms keep insisting gig wages are up, and the math belongs in a fever dream. It's not actually true.
Yeah, dude. I mean, the Lyft CEO, David Risher, he was bragging that their drivers collectively made $9 billion last year, saying that it was the highest amount ever combined for drivers on their platform. So he's like, oh, they're all collectively making more. This is great, right? But then the Uber CEO, he claimed that driver pay is actually up 30% over the last 5 years. Take a look at this clip here.
The truth is, drivers are making about 30% more than they were making 5 years ago.
So I pulled this excerpt from a recent interview Jason Calacanis had with Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi. Dara says that driver pay is up about 30% over the past 5 years, but what he leaves out is that our own data shows driver pay is down 10 to 15% over the past 2 years.
Is that you? I'm just kidding.
Is that me? It could be. It's my cousin, yeah.
You know, the Lyft CEO guy, $9 billion in 2024, drivers made that, right? Do you know why? Because in his books, he put CEO. He probably has a job title that's like, you know, mood driver. And then he just put driver in the earnings. It's also his salary in there, I bet. That's what it is. It's optics. It's just optics.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're all doing all sorts of shady stuff behind the scenes. I mean, because when you look, there's people like really investigating this. The UC Berkeley Labor Center, they found that the median net earnings for rideshare drivers here in California was about $7 an hour before tips. Like that's crazy. Minimum wage here is $16. That's less than half. That's
terrible.
Crazy. And that's because they're not, these companies, when they tout these numbers, they're not including all the wait time that they're doing, the fuel, the insurance, the car depreciation, like that all adds up.
What's funny about this too, and you know, as a freelancer like me, this is sort of how it is in the gig economy. Like you ever get a job offer? It's happened to me so many times. I'm so tired of it. I go, that's a pretty good number for that work. And then when I actually like do the math and do the job, so much of the number gets taken out. Expenses, whatever it is, this thing, the driving time, the taxes, of course. I mean, whatever it might be, you end up making less and less. And I do think we're at a point now where these gig workers are getting squeezed, these drivers. Someone's got to give with these drivers. They're not making any money. Maybe it's all a ploy to just get automated driving like I was joking about, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the future.
Could be. I mean, the CEOs are basically saying, like, if you ignore the work, the cost, and the reality, everybody's rich.
Hey!
But these CEOs are probably like, look at America, everybody's rich, because they're looking through their rich glasses.
Yeah, but once you factor in all those expensive, thousands of drivers are earning way below minimum wage. That's not a side hustle because it traps people in this gig economy.
Yeah. Is it deception or is it the business model? I would argue it's the business model because they want to make more money for the profit and the bottom line.
Yeah.
I also would say, just like a human moment here, maybe this can incentivize us as consumers to hit that tip button, I used to skip the tip button on Uber, if I'm being honest, depending on
You did?
I at times when I was penny pinching and for little rides, because there's already a tip. You can do an additional tip. I would never not tip. Excuse me.
Okay.
There's a way to give an additional tip. You ever see that? It pops up. It gives a percentage. You can give more. It asks you after. My point is, you're trying to pay me to be a bad person, because I defended the rich a couple episodes ago, and he can't get rid of it because he lives in San Francisco. But well, obviously, I want to have my own driver one day when I bury my money in the trunk in the basement. But maybe we could just start like helping these small businesses and these gig people out a little more. If you can, it's not advice, but maybe we should just start tipping a little more because we know how lopsided this percentage is.
Yes, we absolutely should, but shouldn't the companies also be paying living wages for these people who are generating crazy profits for them? Like, there is a balance here. I absolutely am all about tipping over 20% in a lot of cases, but this is on the company. They're the ones making the money off of these people.
But Arthur, once you get away with it this long, I mean, why would you ever do that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the theme of this show, Angry Capital. That's capitalism for you. It's going to find the worst ways to treat people.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can, as you always talk about regulation or government involvement, there is maybe some hope about unionizing and things happening in certain states. So like this just happened in 2024. Massachusetts drivers won union rights. They became the first state to grant gig workers union rights. So workers stay contractors, but they gain that collective bargaining from a union. Gig companies spent millions trying to block the measure and lost.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that you need a statewide vote, like just to be treated like a human in this economy? Like, the unions used to be such a integral part of America and help the middle class and protected workers, and they've been decimated. So it is good to see things moving in this direction. I just don't think that it's going to protect people as much as we think it may.
Well, it's like, are they going to save us gig workers or just trigger the platforms to nuke pay in retaliation? I mean, the platforms are already nuking pay. I don't know what would happen. But even worse, man, California saw this and said, cute, watch this.
Yeah, I don't know. This just happened like a month ago. California passed a law granting 800,000 rideshare drivers union rights. Can you believe that? There's almost 1 million rideshare drivers in California. They keep the contractor status, but they gain the bargaining powers. But it does create like this new labor category where they're between contractor and employee. So you're not getting, they're still not employees. And that's a big thing that Uber, rideshare, all of these companies don't want. They don't want the liability of employees because that's their whole business model here.
I'm curious to see how this develops. This is so new. Like, what are the actual benefits of this union besides bargaining powers? Like, what do you actually get from this kind of in-between status? That's what I'm curious to see. It's so new. We don't really know yet, right?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing is that collective bargaining power to try to negotiate better rates. I mean, I think it's a step forward for them for sure. But I just don't, it's not the same type of protections that used to be a major part of unions and the American worker.
Again, not advice. I'm not trying to tell everyone to do stuff, but the power of unions is the power of people coming together and having that bargaining power. So if there's enough people, I mean, if enough Uber drivers get involved in California and figure out how to get their rights or their income stronger, it could happen. I mean, it's happened in years past in our history of our country. It's always happened that way. So it is possible. I would wonder though if it's, and I'm not trying to make fun of people of today or be the old grandpa on this show, but it's almost like people don't even it feels like people don't even get up and fight for that stuff anymore. It's almost like, well, this is what Uber pays. Like, I would hope that people can band together and figure this out.
Yeah, but I mean, these companies have been so powerful for so long. There's been so much union busting for decades, going back to the Reagan administration. Like, this has been a concerted effort to stop unions for years. And here's the craziest part, though. Even with those unions, research from the University of Florida, they showed that gig workers end up earning less per hour after some of these major law changes go into effect because the platforms just quietly adjust their pay formulas to try to protect their margins there.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you stop? If anything like this happened to protect the workers, the fine print from the companies is just going to get even darker and more hidden. And there's going to be little hidden fees or things. And, that's the problem. That's kind of the rub of new tech too, right? It's like, it's never really protecting the workers. It's always about ingenuity and profit. But it's at the cost of these workers and these drivers here that it's definitely not fair, and I do wonder how far it will go, because I know as a user of these apps, I've seen the money go. I mean, I talked to all my Uber drivers. I do this job. I talk too much to people, clearly. I've even had an Uber driver say, you know what, we could just be quiet. But my point is, it's gotten worse. So who knows, man? We want to hope that the power of unions can maybe help them, but I don't know. There's also an insurance loophole hidden inside that they're talking about. California granted unions and cut Uber Lyft insurance requirements in a side deal. Coverage
There's
for accidents.
Always a side deal.
Always a hustle, which I do love the side hustle. We're gig guys. Coverage for accidents caused by underinsured drivers dropped from $1 million to as low as $60K. So Lyft CEO says the change will save the company $200 million. So drivers, they get the unions, and companies get a coupon code on insurance.
Yeah, basically. You always know they're going to negotiate something in the background here. So all the headlines showed that California drivers got unions, but I don't think a lot of people noticed what the rideshare companies got in exchange for granting those rights.
Is this new based on the app and tech world, or is this how capitalism is always run?
Yeah, always, of course. Why do you think there's like things like minimum wage laws, which, by the way, I mean, are completely antiquated as well? The federal minimum wage is like $7.25, but that's why some of these protections went into place in the first place, because business is always going to try to pay you as little as possible.
That's right. Did you guys know about this little insurance side hustle? If you didn't, let us know and comment, because it'll tell us to keep digging. We kind of like investigating this stuff and figuring out for you guys. We want to show you basically the corruption and manipulation that goes on high. So comment, let us know, hit a like, and let us know how you feel about this as well, and how you feel about using these apps too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, man. The biggest trap isn't political. It's algorithmic. Algorithmic. I almost didn't say it right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's this crazy story here from Human Rights Watch, which is just crazy that a Human Rights Watch has to be involved in gig work apps like this. But they say that the algorithms are pushing workers to drive longer for less pay while maximizing platform revenue. They also found that almost 70% of the drivers report that they're fearful of automated deactivation, and they instantly lose their livelihood, basically. And these systems, they found, started learning the lowest wage that each worker will accept and starts just lowering the bar there for everybody. It's the algorithm side of it I don't think anybody is really talking about.
Your boss is software now, and it hates you personally. I mean, the fear of just like losing your job and it being like automated is absolutely a nightmare to me. It's like, what did I do wrong? Oh, there's no one to talk to. It was automated,
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these drivers, like when you hear their interviews and things like that, there's no recourse. There's like no appeals process to get activated again. And so they're just being cut off arbitrarily and they're stuck here.
I guess we have choices to take certain gigs, but it does feel like the rights of the workers and the humans just get less and less, and it gets harder and harder to work, especially in this space we're talking about with the drivers and these big tech companies and the profits they're making. I mean, record profits right now from these companies, right? Because of this. And the algorithm freaks me out. I mean, is it still a job or a digital plantation with better UI? I said it.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a modern, I think it's evolving into a form of basically indentured servitude, because you eventually don't have a choice. If jobs are disappearing from the economy, if there's no traditional work out there and you have to accept these things, it ends up almost becoming not a choice anymore for a lot of people.
Well, it's not forced labor though. You do have to choose to,
Yes.
get a little car, take pictures of it, send it to Uber, become a driver. We do have choices, but yes, I do think you can get stuck in this gig loop. I'm calling it. I'm coining a term here, the gig loop. I've been in the gig loop for years. These drivers are in this gig loop. And again, I think it comes down to also making something at one point that you don't make anymore. I think in the gig economy, it's less and less money per specialty, per job. Look at driving, for example. It's a great example, but it's not just driving, man. It's everything. I think if you're a specialized worker in most fields, you will probably make less now than you once did, because everyone's being squeezed. That's my take. That's not necessarily a fact or a story here. It's just what I think I've sensed. I've sensed from my own career, right?
Yeah, it's real. And then you factor in inflation and all of that stuff, and it's just more and more being taken away from you. And, we're just all in a worse off position. But I think that these things are really important to be talking about and looking into and becoming aware of. And if you're still here with us here, you made it all the way through, hit like. You're a people. It helps us know that, we should keep making videos like this to show you what's going on out there.
And make sure you subscribe before the algorithm decides you want more AI slop, okay? We do three of these a week. You don't want to miss what's next. This is our gig, guys. We're here to talk about this crazy gig economy as we live it, which is, I think it's interesting with the topic today, Arthur, because I think you and I represent how this goes. And I think also having a family, like the stress of the gig, the grass is always greener, right? Like full-time employment gives you that security, but then you have maybe less freedom with your schedule. There's always like I don't know if you've done this, but my whole career I've kind of in that dance where like I freelance long enough and I go, man, I really need a full-time job, paycheck. Then I get the full-time job paycheck. I go, man, I miss gigging. Like you can't, it's almost like what's the answer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's based on the individual for sure, but I think that it is important to watch what's going on here with the gig economy, because we're seeing more people being shoved into it because of the labor market here. So this could become a reality for a lot of us. And where it used to be, kind of a side hustle, like you're seeing in those numbers, there's such a huge percentage of people who rely on it for their entire income, and it's increasing. And it's the companies are taking advantage of it. And I just don't see this as being a good thing for the people. So we need to keep fighting for these protections here.
Totally. And I say the grass is always greener thing, because I think there once was a time where full-time employment felt more secure. But as we're seeing with the numbers, like it really isn't. It's almost like both choices to make money are not really secure. And that's the scary part about the times we're in with the job economy across all jobs, but it's specifically the gig economy also going from maybe full-time to freelance. And it just doesn't really make sense. Or look, you can get fired even at your full-time job by a computer for all we know. You know what I mean? Like it's just a different time to work. Maybe, I need to do more side hustles that are sketchy, man. I got to go back to the sketchy.
Like what? Selling drugs?
I don't know. Yeah, let's get back to old school gig economy. No algorithms. A guy.
This is not.
Come on. Just do it. Give me the cash like that. I just want to,
Yeah, I mean, I used to do side gigs as like a bouncer for nightclubs and stuff like that when I was younger. Yeah, for the cash, because it was easy cash. But I did a lot of these when they first started, like TaskRabbit. I used to clean people's houses. Wow. I don't know how to clean houses. I remember I was in like this multi-million-dollar home in the Bay Area here, cleaning this old woman's wood floors, scratching the shit out of it because I didn't know not to use a certain rag, just destroying it. But, And I would do like TaskRabbit gigs and go build furniture for offices. I don't know what the hell I was doing. It would take me hours to do these things, but it was a safety net at the time as a side hustle, get a little extra income here. And it used to be more lucrative. And I really feel for, all of us and all the people who are having to string together an income through these apps here, because the apps are what squeeze you. It's different being an independent freelancer.
Yeah.
But the apps, man, they're really squeezing you.
That scrubbing the floors job is probably more per hour than Uber drivers today. And that's all you need to really know about the way this is happening with the labor and the gig economy. Mm-hmm. And my question for you guys, kind of a final question for you to think about and comment is the gig economy rescuing people from layoffs or manufacturing a permanent underclass? Is this by design here? Are we all getting squeezed so much that we're all going to work for less? We're all going to have less protections. We're all not going to have bargaining power. That's what we all have to consider. We want you to be informed. Let us know how you're working. I'm curious who's out there and how you're working, because I think this topic too, which we found, Arthur, talking about this, is people relate to this. People every day are trying to figure out what they're doing this month. This is not like a one city issue or a one age group issue. This is a percentage that's high for most Americans, most people in the world. So, and it's not like we got here out of nowhere. So I think you raise a good point with the apps. I think that's a big chain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, apps have changed our lives. Everything's efficient, but at what cost to the worker and to the gig worker?
Right. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing to consider. And when you're using these things, like you said earlier, make sure that you're reading them well, tipping them well, understanding what is happening here to this gig economy and how people are getting screwed.
I'm not allowed to do this, but since this is our gig, if you really like this episode, comment below that you'll tip us.
Oh, yeah. I like that. I think at some point, if we build this show big enough, there's tip buttons on YouTube. We could do it.
We could do a paywall right here just so you can see Arthur's feet by minute.
Oh, you want to see my feet again?
No, don't do it again. He did it another episode ago. This guy's got his feet out. That's his OnlyFans. You don't want to deal with that here. That's a different pay structure.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a gig economy. My boy's got to work, and so do I. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're here 3 times a week. We're going to keep talking economy, keep talking finances, and make sure you guys stay informed and survive out there.
Peace.
This show is sponsored by Galileo FX, the only automated trading software that shows you the wins and losses before you buy. Learn more at store.galileofx.com.